relative to the patient.
Okay.
But somebody should be aware of what's going on, the expectation of the intervention, etc. I don't think it is not right and not wise to leave the patient and the relatives in darkness.
In the dark.
Yeah, I think it's their right
To know. Yes.
But you should not really hurt the patient. You shouldn't tell somebody who has a terminal disease. You should not tell him that you're going to die tomorrow. You should give him. You should encourage him. You should really take things easy. You should take it simply. And you can probably step by step, tell him what you think, but not in a very direct way to hurt him and to let him really be impressed, and that's going to really affect the intervention. So I think you should be wise in approaching the patient who has a serious illness or terminal disease.
Okay. Talking about patient-doctor relationships, sometimes do you think doctors should accept gifts from patients when patients are happy with their doctors?
I think a human relationship mandate that we should accept courtesy, but it should be first not conditional. It should not really be the gift should not be against any service you provide the patient, and it should be not expensive. It should be very symbolic things. I think you will make the patients happy, but of course that should not affect your approach. Should not really change your approach to any patient, and simple things. I think in our bylaws it is acceptable to accept simple gifts without conditions, and I think it will make the patients happy, and some patients will reward you, and this is, I think, a kind of reward, and our religion accept that. So I don't think there's no wrongdoing in accepting simple things as a courtesy from your patients.
So in your views, it's acceptable.
Yes, I think so.
Gifts from patients.
I think it's acceptable, but I said with a certain limitation, not expensive things. You should not really show the patient that you are expecting something from them. You should thank them for that, and but it should not really affect your approach to any patient at all. But simple things as a courtesy, as symbolic for the service you provide them, I think you will make your patient happy.
Now we come to the end of our interview, Dr. Hussain. Can I ask you how we can move ahead in relation to the doctor-patient relationship and making doctors better, communicators and so on? Are there any plans on the ground? How do we make medical students care about patients?
Yeah, I think we go back now to the good training, good communication, application of evidence-based medicine, and the emphasis on continuing training of doctor and acquiring a new skill. I think this is the only way you can improve it. And always take the simple measure, the cheap measure, not necessarily that the things which are more drastic or more expensive will be better than simple, cheap things. I think should really, good communication skills, evidence-based medicine application, orientation of the patient, knowing your limitation. We have a problem with doctors who have overconfidence and they exceed their limits, exceed their privileges. I think we should know your limitation. And it's not a shame to send a patient to a senior colleague, a specialist, an expert who knows the patient's problem better than you. I think that will give you, more, will contribute more to your reputation and to your self-confidence rather than doing things which you are not well familiar with.
Excellent. Obviously, this would be a topic that we should discuss at some stage in the future. It's very interesting. We're grateful, Dr. Hussain, for your time and for the advice. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the views here from the, more or less the top doctor in the country in relation to overseeing the doctors in the kingdom, and stressing that the training is important of the doctor, the background training, that the doctor should present the facts as they are to the patient. There should be communication skills, that doctors should be trained, medical students should be trained, how to communicate, how to be patient, how to be good listeners, and not to make the choice routinely, I know what's best for you. That attitude should not, and also just the overall package that Dr. Hussain says. I hope there are many doctors listening to us here, and I hope everybody's learned one or two things. So we're at the end of this interview. Again, we want to thank Dr. Hussain for his time and effort, and thank you all.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this episode. You've heard what the doctors say, you've heard what the public says, and you've also heard what the officers in charge of running the conduct and supervision of doctors themselves say. You make up your own mind, the making of a good doctor. And I leave you with that message. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and take care. Goodbye. Until the next episode.